Welcome, everybody. How do you guys all get in my living room? Let's get some volume so I can hear you guys. So I know it's in the privacy of your own home, you're probably in your pajamas. So we understand if you don't have your video on, but if possible, we'd love to have your microphones open so we can hear you, hopefully laughing at us or with us. Either way, we're fine with that. We need the humor, we need the comedy, we need the laughs. It's our cocaine, and with the pandemic, we're just starting back into getting some of that back. So our addiction is not being fulfilled. But we thank you for coming. If you are not already following Button Down Comedy, we do have a show every other Friday. Please follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. We post the information about the shows. We would love to have you come back. We'd love to have you bring friends. We'd love to have a larger audience, more people, more laughs, more fun, more drinks. It all goes together. So, all righty. Been thinking about the Halloween, this weekend, and trying to figure out what costume I'm supposed to wear, right? I can't be a ghost. I mean, a white guy in a sheet. Not good. I thought maybe a policeman, but that's just too scary. Maybe a wig and a dress, but then I'd just be a Karen. I always love the holidays. They always seem to hang decorations. They let the shortest person in the office do the decorations. They always tend to hang about this low. So I'm ducking constantly. It's like whack-a-mole. I'm the mole. But I mean, I do like being tall. I do like, looking down on people. I like being able to be easily found in a crowd. Mostly, I like being able to hide something by simply putting it on top of the refrigerator. It hit me the other day. Most discoveries and inventions are named after their inventor, but not the telephone. I thought, well, there were already bells. You couldn't use bell, but graham cracker existed, so couldn't use graham. I mean, we could have been talking on Alexander's all this time. Hey, we got an Alexander call. Got a Xander. Xander me later, would you? But then there's the thing is, we could be texting everybody on smart Alexes. Now, anybody in the audience have that light flashing in their car that says, maintenance or check engine? Okay, anybody who has that, you are not allowed to have a sex robot. I mean, if you don't lube a sex robot properly, that's not gonna go well. And I mean, if you wait too long and the motor seizes, that could be painful. Oof. No. And I am remembering phone numbers anymore. Everything's my smartphone by their name. And I mean, the only reason I know 911, it's in the title. I think we need to start naming babies with their phone numbers. And the teachers, 535-9424. Don't put that in your mouth. Get that. Why aren't you listening to me? Sorry, wrong number. It's like, hey, baby, do you spell that with a 2 or a 7? I have my girlfriend tells me she wants to have a fairy tale relationship. I wasn't quite sure what she meant till I came home and found 7 short guys in the bedroom. Was much clearer then. And she tells me to never change. Then she complains about the smell. She hates it to use the N-word. I have to say yes to everything. She has that issue with her food where it has to be separated, it can't touch. And then I said, what about like stir fry, where it's all mixed together? She says it's fine as long as it comes out that way. So I just have to remember to put the whipped cream on before I go into the bedroom. She has one of those mixed breed dogs. It's a cock blocker. But it does like whipped cream. I've been doing the Dragon Con type of thing for the last, pre-pandemic for a few years. And if you've never been there, they really get into the costumes and the cosplay. And the first year I kind of decided to get into it. I went out and I purchased a one-piece from neck down to the toes neoprene suit that I then made the costume on. Couple of mistakes. Well, first of all, neoprene is waterproof both directions. So all that went right down to my toes. I was squishing by noon. That was not my biggest mistake. My biggest mistake, skin tight neoprene, scantily clad ladies. I gave out some dick pics. I mean, they were superhero dick pics, so I guess that's okay. I saw a woman dressed as Captain Marvel proposing to a woman dressed as Wonder Woman. And I know it's 2021. We're supposed to be open-minded, be progressive, but there are certain things that are just wrong. They go against nature, and you have to stand up and speak out against those things. And I'm sorry, you cannot mix Marvel and DC. It's wrong. I saw a sign for cannabis convention, CannaCon 2021. A room full of people smoking weed. Auditorium full. I thought they called that college. I'm sure for cosplay at the CannaCon. I mean, can you imagine someone dressed as a blunt? Or a bag of Doritos? And when the munchies kick in, do you really want to be a bag of Doritos? The other day, I scratchy throat. So I texted one of my friends that I was sucking on some balls. My phone said I was sucking on some balls. I did not know my phone knew me so. All right, that is my time. We had a last minute cancellation of our opener, so we are all going to try to be a third funnier for you. So you just need to laugh 3 times as hard. That's all. That'll make up. We love doing this. It is a free show, and by no means feel any obligation. But if you do like the show, please first spread the word, tell your friends. Secondly, consider sending a few dollars to the comics here. These are comics that have been stuck at home for most of the last 2 years, just to get back out. This is how they, hopefully, we're making a living. The last couple of years, they've been in the grocery store with the mask on, But we set up 2 sites. One with PayPal. It's paypal.me/BD comedy, or on Cash App, $button down comedy. Feel free, if you have the urge, please do. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, that is fine as well. We love to have you here. We really just want your laughs. We want you for your laughs. That's all we want. We want you for your laughs. Our next comedian. Wait, I have the intro here somewhere. There it is. Our next comedian hosts the Masked Show on Zoom once a month. Met her online here. We did a lot of Zoom comedy over the last year, so got to meet a lot of really funny people. So please, let's hear it for Sophia Smarandescu.
Woo! Thanks for having me on, Jeff. Or, oh my God, what's your name? George.
Geo George.
Oh my God. Geo George. Oh my gosh, you guys. I got the freaking host name wrong. I'm already freaking bombing. Thanks for having me on, everybody. This is super fun. I just feel like it's like three old men clearing their throats. I just feel like I'm like at a doctor's appointment or something. All right. Yeah, my name's Sophia Smardeska. I'm a Romanian gal. We got any other Romanians here tonight? I love asking that question because I'm addicted to deafening silence. I'm Eastern European though. And all the men in my family, they have very like ancient, sturdy, powerful names. Like I have an uncle named Constantine, which is a pretty weird name for somebody who's not a statue. And George is Hungarian. Oh my God, I'm messing up your name because my boss's name is Jeff, and it's the G. It's like spelled Geoff. It's just very like English sounding. Anyway, but yeah, I have an uncle named Constantine, which is a weird name for somebody who's not a statue, and I also have another uncle named Vladimir, which is a weird name for somebody who's not rigging an election. So, thumbs up, you guys. So yeah, I do comedy, and I've also been like studying acting since like the pandemic started. And my acting teacher is this guy in his 80s, and he's like the least sexually repressed person I've ever met in my life. He's always telling me to taste the moment when we're doing scenes. And he recently paired me up. So I'm 27. He recently paired me up with like a 55-year-old man, and he was about to assign us a scene. And in my head, I was just like, please give us an Uncle Niece scene. Please give us an Uncle Niece scene. And he was like, how about you look at the play Red Hot Lovers? I was like, oh my God, I had to do this scene with this guy. And I was not into it. And my teacher obviously noticed, and he was like, if you're having problems getting aroused, just imagine that your partner is fried chicken. And I was like, did this guy just reveal his kink? Because like, I don't know. That's all right. You guys are a good audience. Give it up for yourselves. I feel like we got to get some of these freaking cameras on. You guys got to turn what are you guys doing? Having sex? You guys got to turn your cameras on. So we got to see you having sex. Come on. Is this a clean show? Did I just ruin it? I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm a first generation therapy goer. We got any other first generation therapy people here? I think there should be a scholarship for people who are the first person in their family to go to therapy. I think it should be called the what do I need therapy for? To go and to cry if my dog dies. Scholarship. It's one name. My therapist recently asked me if depression runs in my family, and I was like, lady, I was born in Eastern Europe. Like, just look at their faces, Like, we don't even call it resting bitch face, though. Like, we call it resting turmoil face. But my family's so depressed. One time my mom was sad, and that was like the happiest I'd ever seen her. So I use my hands a lot. I got dictator hands. I don't know what to tell you guys, but I have a case of dictator hands. So all right. Yeah, but I broke up with my last therapist. My last therapist wasn't the best. And I broke up with her because she used to eat her lunch during her sessions. Like I had to be sharing my childhood trauma, and she was always just balls deep in like a meatball sub, just digging in like. But I broke up with her because I broke up with her, yeah, because she used to eat the lunch, and but I feel like I was pretty brave because I broke up with her in person, and all my friends told me to just ghost this lady. But, like I don't believe in ghosting, Like I'm so anti-ghosting, I paid a copay to break up with somebody. All right. Do you guys know what ghosting is?
No.
Oh, ghosting's when you go on a date and you never call them again, and then you don't tell them why. You don't like no courtesy call, like, oh, like thanks for the time, but I'm not interested. That's what ghosting is. So my friends told me to ghost my therapist. Come on, you guys, we gotta raise our standards, everybody. Okay. We're all vaccinated here, right? 100% vaccination rate in this Zoom room. No COVID's getting spread in this Zoom room. But I've been pretty afraid during this whole pandemic. COVID's had me wearing a face mask, face shield, and a butt plug. So, been wearing an 18-month-old butt plug this whole time. Okay. But yeah, so covered the butt plug stuff, but I got the vaccine. I was kind of afraid to get it because like my dad's an anti-vaxxer, not masker vaxxer. He's anti-vaxxer, and he really scared me, and I almost didn't get it. But I went, I got the appointment, and the way I carried myself at this like vaccine appointment, like the way I was carrying myself was I was about to like marry the wrong man. Like I was like pacing up and down the aisle of Walgreens, calling my mom for reassurance. But I did get the vaccine, and I got some pretty crazy side effects though. I got a really heavy period. Not to alienate all of the men in here because you're the only audience, but you gotta hang tight with me. Don't leave on me, okay? I got a really heavy period, and I was freaking out. I thought I was dying, and I called this nurse hotline, and the lady was like, you're okay, but this continues. Maybe go to urgent care in the morning. And I was like, this is gonna sound really weird. I was like, but every time I fart, I pass a massive blood clot. So should I just like be holding in my farts all night? She was like, ma'am, whatever's passing through your vagina is gonna pass through regardless if you fart or not. So much judgment how she said fart. But I felt kind of bad for her. Okay, like this woman got her medical degree, and all she's doing is just giving me permission to fart on the phone. So yeah, I felt bad for her. Okay. I feel like do I have an alimony laugh? I think I have an alimony laugh. You know what I'm talking about? You guys know about alimony. Are you guys paying any alimony? Nobody here? All right, okay. I thought you guys were an alimony crowd. My bad. I thought that was gonna slay in this room. But yeah, so I'm single now. I've been single for a couple years. My last relationship wasn't the best, and I was talking to my therapist about it, and she was like, Sophia, she was like, healthy relationships feel a lot like a short story, and unhealthy relationships feel a lot like a movie, which makes sense for me because I don't like to read. So, but I do like to read. I'm sorry, I don't want to betray myself. Just a joke. But yeah, I accidentally dated an evangelical Christian. Are you guys evangelical? Any evangelicals here tonight?
Nope.
All right, that's good. I just completely ignored it. Like he told me what he was, and I just was like, all right, I don't know what that means, but okay, fine. And it was kind of weird, like dating evangelical. If you've ever been to one of those churches, it's just like sober karaoke. That's all it is. But he was very controlling. Like one time I wanted to go to the gym, and he was like, no, I have a better idea. And he drove me to a river that was 30 miles away, and he showed me how to squat boulders and throw tree trunks into a river. It was just like CrossFit for people in cults, and I wasn't sure if he wanted to isolate me or my muscles, is what I'm trying to say. But we weren't a good match though, like he wanted that woman that's in the front of the church she's never lifted weights, but she's had her arms up in the air for like 45 minutes. She somehow has the stamina for that. That was his dream woman. That wasn't me. But I think he wanted to turn me into a sister wife, and I don't think I'd make a good. I mean, actually, I was kind of excited about the idea of being a sister wife because I'm an only child. I was like, that sounds great. But I think he wanted to turn me into sister wife. Do you guys has anyone in this room ever watched that sister wife show on TLC?
Sorry, no.
No. Okay. It's this show. Okay, I'll explain it to you. Okay, this guy has 3 wives. They live in a compound, and they all have their own separate apartments. And every night he just migrate between their different apartments every night. And I think that show should have been called Sisterhood of the Traveling Penis. I think that would have been a much better name. Because Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Oh my gosh, I have such millennial jokes. You're not getting my references, damn it. Oh well. We having fun here tonight?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, baby. We even got a Dr. James in the audience tonight. I don't know who that is, what kind of doctor. I'm curious what his specialty is. I bet we're all curious what his specialty is. Yeah, you guys are a great audience. I'll tell one more Dayton joke, and then I'll move to some better stuff. Are you guys cool with that?
Yeah.
Excellent. But okay, so the kind of the situation where I realized my ex was crazy was like he was a very creative gaslighter. Like one time we went hiking together, and we saw this sign at the beginning of the trail. We used to live in Montana, and we saw this sign at the beginning of the trail that said, "Warning, mountain lion on the loose." And I was like, we should probably leave. He was like, don't worry. He's like, baby. He's like, I could absolutely destroy a mountain lion. And I was like, no, you can't. Like, what's this guy gonna do? Like, do like jujitsu on a mountain lion? It's crazy. And I was like, it's not you. I just don't trust this mountain lion, which was like a sentence I never thought I'd say. And I didn't know what was gonna come out of my mouth next, like, or what was gonna come out of his mouth next. Oh fuck, I fucked up that joke. Oh my god, you guys, I'm freaking bombing. Oh my god. Let's move past the mountain lion stuff. We're gonna move to some tried and true material. Don't leave on me now. Don't take a smoke break. It's gonna get better. All right, you guys. You guys look like a communist kind of crowd. Are you guys communists in here? No. Okay. So my family, they grew up in communism. They grew up in communist Romania, and it wasn't like a millennial kind of communism, though. They didn't like pick it up in college. But I was watching this documentary about Romania's dictator. His name was Nicolae Ceausescu. Have you guys ever heard of him? Yes. Okay. Yep. Oh my god, I'm so glad. He's like a C-list dictator. He's not very famous. But heads up, if your nation's leader is ever speaking off a balcony instead of a podium, then your democracy is in trouble. But every year, Nikolai, he liked to check the harvest. Like during communism, he liked to check the harvest to make sure it was good quality. So he was like part dictator, part grocery store manager. That's when times are tough. When your country's dictator just starts picking up side gigs, because it's like, hold up, why is Mussolini working the swing shift? This is Baskin Robbins. It's crazy. I want to go to that Baskin Robbins. That sounds like a fun Baskin Robbins. All right, so yeah, we've spent a good amount of time together. I'm just gonna tell 2 more jokes, and I'll get out of your hair, and then you can watch the next comedian. You guys can just sit back and relax, or have your video off and do something illicit, whatever you want to do. But yeah, so my name is Sophia Sparndescu. I have a total tennis player name, right? Total tennis player name. And I played tennis a lot growing up as a kid. And so my dad, he wanted me to be a pro tennis player. That was like kind of the mutual dream for us. And my dream was, so I'm Romanian Canadian. That's my nationality. I wanted to be the first Romanian Canadian tennis player to win the US Open, which I think we can all agree is a pretty niche thing to be. But get this, you guys, 2 years ago, another Romanian Canadian girl won the US Open. My anus snapped shut when I read that headline. I was like, oh my God, like she not only stole my dream, she stole my family's immigration pattern. Like that was scary. But I was one of those players that would like throw my rack a lot when I lose, which is a great way to show that you're rich and furious. So, but my daddy was my coach, and he used to come to my matches a lot, and I always hated it when he come to my matches because he was just like super disruptive. And if you want to picture my dad, just imagine Borat in an Adidas tracksuit. That's my dad. But he can never follow the rules at my matches. Like one of the rules is like you're not allowed to coach, but he would do it anyway. He'd have his lips pressed up against the fence and just be like, "Bend your knees, Cookie." Cookie was my nickname growing up. Do I look like a cookie to you guys?
Nope.
To me, Cookie's the name of like a 65-year-old chain smoking bridge player from Louisiana. Okay, that's Cookie to me. Okay, I'm not Cookie. But another thing you do is like if you wanted me to use my elbow more, you'd start pointing to his elbow, and then if someone caught me, you just start stretching. And before you know it, my dad would just be doing a full-out Jillian Michaels workout, just going to town. Or Jane Fonda. That's yeah, Jane Fonda workout. Okay, great. No, she did like the leg lifts. I think that was her thing. All right. Let's close on like an interactive joke. Are you guys cool with an interactive joke?
Sure.
Okay, very nice. So I love my dad's accent. When I was growing up, I loved the way he says certain words. Well, my dad's name is Bassarab, which sounds like slang, right? Like I Bassarab that ass. Okay. But he has like a very fun accent. Like the way my dad says ankle and uncle is just virtually identical, which is confusing for me because my dad has joint issues and a tumultuous relationship with his uncle. So I made a game. It's called Ankle or Uncle. I'm going to tell you guys something my dad's told me, and you guys are going to guess if we're talking about his ankle or his uncle. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, great. Every time we walk over 1 mile, my uncle always gets so swollen.
Ankle.
Ankle.
Uncle Paul.
Uh,
I recently plucked 3 ingrown hairs from my uncle.
Ankle.
Uncle.
Didn't get this one.
Very nice. Ankle. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Good. You got one right. My uncle recently contracted malaria, trapped me inside his guest house, and would not let me leave without brute force. Uncle Paul. Okay. Uncle Paul. It's always about Uncle Paul. Almost always. That's the joke, you guys. All right, guys. You guys have been a very fun audience, and I'll give it back to George. Thank you very much.
Keep it going,
Hey,
Sophia.
Sophia.
Yay.
Cookie is a
Thank
dad joke, but hey, I'm a dad. I get it. Thanks, Sophia. Our next comedian, Bruce basically has been around. I've saw him on a variety of Zoom open mics over the last 2 years. And he is, from his bio, gets around the New York, Long Island area a lot. But I suspect he's also gotten outside that region some. Maybe we'll hear a little bit about that. Please, let's give it up for Bruce Lipsky.
Well, Bruce Lipsky.
Woo!
It's funny. I was talking to some people today. You're the second person today who called me Bruce Lipinski. That's close enough.
I apologize.
That's okay. That's all right. In fact, my son used to play basketball, and his coach used to call him Lipinski also. So it must be Lipsky, Lipsky. I'll have to work on that somehow, phonetically. But you know, I don't know if anybody has elderly parents. I got a call today from my 87-year-old dad. He said, "Bruce, guess what? They just opened up a new comedy club in the neighborhood." I said, "Dad, that's fantastic. What's it called?" He said, "Stand Up MRI." I said, "Dad, did you check it out?" He said, "Yeah, they wouldn't let me in. They didn't have a prescription." He said, "But I did call the club." He said, "The good news is there's no cover charge, but there's a 2 copay minimum." Well, as I said, my dad, I think he's losing it. So I had to take him to the hospital recently. So we're in the elevator at the hospital, and this technician wheels in this machine with all these tubes and hoses. My father looks at him and says, "Mister, you're not going to hook me up to that machine today, are you?" The guy says, "I hope not. It's a carpet cleaner." You know, so after the hospital, I think I'd take my parents to their favorite place, Friendly's. I don't know if you guys have Friendly's near you. So anyway, but there's nothing friendly about my parents when they go out to eat. They're lukewarm at best. They don't go to eat, they go to complain. So my mother's sitting down. She calls the manager over and says, "Mister, it's bad enough my eggs are runny and my toast is burnt. But how come you don't serve coffee in those nice brown Friendly mugs anymore?" The guy looked at her and said, "Lady, I'm sorry. People kept on stealing them." She said, "Oh my, what a tragedy. I only needed one more to complete my set." Now I have a mother with a mugshot for being a mug thief. And it's so hard with my parents. I'm running out of restaurants to take them to. In fact, restaurants are doing Yelp reviews on my parents now. But it was their anniversary, so I figured I'd take them out to a really nice place. One of my favorite fancy restaurants. So we're sitting down, it's the same problem again. My mother starts to complain to me. She said, "Bruce, this soup is cold, it's tasteless, it's disgusting." I said, "Ma, that's the finger bowl." Then she got her dinner, she started eating it, she slammed her fork down and said, "This is the worst Greek salad I ever had." I said, "Ma, we're in a Chinese restaurant, what do you expect?" It's hard with these people. I'm worried I'm going to turn into my parents. I just turned 65 years old. 65, I can't believe it. I looked in the mirror the other day. I look like a rusted old 56 Buick. This body is totally shot out of alignment. My rear end is making funny sounds. The hoses are leaking. And my ball joints have all dried out. I said, "Oh, I better get Mako." Mako says, oh no, you better get Medicare. And so I went to my doctor. I said, doctor, I got this problem. I started putting on weight in my middle over here. What's going on? He examined me and said, I think you got the furniture disease. I said, what's that? He said, it looks like your chest is falling into your drawers. What's going on? It used to be in my house, if I had a leak, I'd call my plumber. Now I call my urologist. And he's $50 cheaper. You probably know that, Dr. James, right? I remember the days I used to go dancing, Studio 54, New York City. I get on that floor and bust a move. I'm afraid to take my wife dancing now. I didn't bust a hip. The other day, my wife said to me, Bruce, let's get down tonight. I don't mind getting down, but how the hell am I going to get up? And I'm starting to forget things. I swear my foam mattress has a better memory than I do. It's hard. Back when I was young, I used to be into photography. You probably wouldn't know this, Sophia. George probably would. I used to develop film using something called my Polaroid. Out of 64, the only thing I'm developing are hemorrhoids. And I actually had a full head of hair back in the day. And back in my time, in order to keep my hair stiff, they had a product called Vitalis. Now at 65, I want to keep things stiff. I depend on Cialis. But it's important. When you get older, you got to watch out that people don't take advantage of you. I think my mechanic is taking advantage of me. I think he's trying to rip me off. I brought my vehicle in the other day. He handed me a $1,200 bill. 4 new tires, recalibrate the airbags, recharge the air conditioning system. I said, this is all wrong. He says, why? I told him I drive a motorcycle. But when you get older, you got to stay in shape. So I just started an exercise program, but I only exercise late at night. Many hours at 3 and 5 in the morning. I run sprints from the bedroom to the bathroom. My wife calls it my fleet of pee. The good news is I got my time down under 6 seconds. Unfortunately, I only can hold my pee for 4.2. And my wife is a fitness nut. Hey, goat yoga. You ever heard of that, Sophia? Goat yoga? He finds it very therapeutic and relaxing, especially when you go jump on her back and lick her ears. I said, wait a second. When I tried that in the bedroom last week, you slapped me and threw me out of the room. And now you pay a goat to do it? She said, well, he has fresher breath. So I asked her, did they allow kids in the class? She said, no, they only use adult goats. We just celebrated a milestone anniversary, 30 years of wedded bliss. No, wedded blisters. Because all these years she's been rubbing me the wrong way, and I got the calluses to prove it. We have a unique marriage. We don't renew our vows every year. I get a performance review. I have to go through contract negotiations. And last year was tough. My wife said, Bruce, if you worked for me, I would have fired your ass a long time ago. He gave me 3 months probation and took away all my fringe benefits. Where's human resources when I need them? And before I met my wife, I dated a lot of people. I even dated a very famous TV weather person. But unfortunately, the first time we got intimate, it was like a bad winter forecast. She was predicting 10 to 12. All she got was 2 to 4. Now was she angry? Now I know why they named hurricanes after women. She's a great woman, my wife. She really is. But during this pandemic, she became obsessed with buying on Amazon. And those packages are nonstop. We get so many packages, they just rezone my front porch as a loading dock. I got boxes stacked up here. I'm afraid to pull anything out. What's that game they call it? Blocks. You pull something out, they all fall down. Jenga. That's it, Jenga. It's like I'm playing a game of Jenga for giants every day. Going from the front porch to delivering back down. I'm like a personal delivery monk. You know what she calls me? She calls me her Amazon primate. And it was my birthday coming up. She said, Bruce, I want to get you something special. What would you like? I said, how about a forklift? We have the only family on the block that has valet parking for the FedEx guys. Imagine that. But what really disturbed me the other day, I saw my wife painting in big letters in the driveway, reserved for UPS. I said, what's going on over here now? Then I'm thinking she may be having an affair with the UPS guy, because every time he comes over, she brags about how big his package is. Now she's insisting on paying for extra backdoor delivery. I'm starting to wonder if my fulfillment center is lacking. And she handed me a box 2 days ago. She said, Bruce, open it up. I got something very special for you. Hold it out. Brown shorts, construction boots, and a clipboard. Now, anytime I want to have sex, I got to sign for it. This is making my family life miserable. The only smiles in my house now are the ones in the cardboard boxes. But we have a great relationship, my wife and I. We love doing things together. Broadway shows, nice dinners, the UPS guy. Got to keep it in the family, you know. Everybody's going crazy over this whole pandemic and everything. People are getting pets and cats and dogs and turtles. We got a designer dog. My wife went out and spent $6,000 on a designer dog. $6,000. She carries this thing around like a Gucci handbag. Except the Gucci handbag only costs $3,000. I'd rather have the Gucci handbag. At least it doesn't need to be walked 6 times a day. But I said to her, how can you spend so much money on a dog like this? She said, well, he has his kennel club papers. Kennel club papers? The only papers I've seen is the ones he's been peeing on. And I got to clean them up. And then we got this dog from a breeder. And I don't know if anybody ever bought a dog from a breeder. They ask 100 questions. They wanted to know my financial records. They want to know my arrest records. Arrest records. What am I, buying a dog or being interviewed by the CIA? I got vetted before this dog even went to the vet. And she dresses him in silk pajamas and a gold collar. And she's named him Fabio. Fabio. I don't call him Fabio. I call him Houdini. Because the 2 wags in his tail, he's made my sex life completely disappear. Now sex is just a grand illusion. And without the handcuffs. You know how hard it is to perform when there's 4 legs, a panting wet tongue, and the smell of bad breath in your bed, and a dog. And this dog, completely taken over my bedroom. He lays on my side of the bed, on my pillow, next to my wife snoring and farting. Hey, I've been doing that for the last 30 years. What's left for me? I'm starting to wonder who the man of the house is now. I'm afraid to kick him out of bed. I may get bitten, scratched, and growled at by my wife. I have the only dog, I don't know how this happened, with restless leg syndrome. Constantly going like this all night long. I don't know if this dog is dreaming about kicking me or the UPS guy out of the bed, or both of us. I don't know. I haven't slept in 3 weeks. I keep telling my wife, constantly getting kicked and jabbed. She looks at me and said, how do you know it was the dog? And she feeds the dog the science diet, special diet. Me, she feeds the science fiction diet. Serves me cans of spaghetti and meatballs. All I know, the more cans food she serves me, the more time I spend in the can. And the dog just had his physical. His cholesterol is 37 points below mine. He's not walking around pre-diabetes. I guess the good news is we both tested negative for fleas. So I should be happy about that, you know? But as I said, it's a loving relationship all these years. It's 30 years together. 30 years, it's hard to believe. And not one time during these 30 years, we ever changed our mattress. But recently we went out shopping for a new mattress. And there's tons of choices out there. After 3 hours, we couldn't make a decision. Only decision we really made was, I like mine soft. She likes hers hard. Like I haven't heard that over the last 30 years. But she wound up going online and buying a mattress. She ordered an avocado mattress. Avocado mattress. $4,000 for this thing. She says she's going green. She's not going green. She's spending my green. She said the part of this mattress, it's sustainable and it's organic. Who wants organic in their bedroom? I want orgasmic. This thing was starting to get lumpy, started to smell. The mattress, not my wife, not my wife. And I said, I feel like I'm sleeping on a better guacamole. I feel like a fajita. What's next? Sour cream pillows? But with the mattress, she got one of those adjustable Craftmatic beds. Have you ever seen these things? You can take a remote control and raise the head or the legs. Don't piss your spouse off when you have one of those things. We had an argument. She took the remote control, raised the both ends of the bed to the shape of a V. I said, I can't get into the bed tonight. She said, that's not the only V you're not getting into tonight. Our Tempur-Pedic turned into her Tempur-Pedic. It was tough, man. It's tough. And I don't know if anybody here has kids. Anybody have kids here? I remember when I caught my 13-year-old son playing with a deck of cards with naked women on it. I said to him, son, what kind of games do you play with this? He said, lots of solitaire. I said, I always thought the noise coming from your room because you were playing with your other joystick. Guess I was wrong. He's actually an art major. Really, really creative kid. He's into cartooning. And lately he's been kind of shirking his responsibilities and getting some bad grades. So I got a letter in the mail from the school. They said if he doesn't get his act together, they're going to put him in suspended animation. And he's an athlete also. He's into running and everything. Came home the other day, all sweaty. He said, Dad, I need my workout clothes washed. I said, go do it yourself. He said, Dad, I know we got a new wash machine. What do I set the machine on? I said, what does it say in your sweatshirt? Looked down and said, Nike. This is a genius I'm raising over here. But you got to keep the family together. It's cohesive and everything. My wife really tries to do this. She really tries to keep us healthy. She just put us on a new diet. It's called the tainted lettuce diet. I lost 7 pounds in 2 days. Somebody said, was it from the romaine? I said, I couldn't tell you, but once this thing kicked in, nothing remained in me for more than 30 seconds. And she had me go out to the store, wanted me to buy organic produce, wanted me to buy some organic kale. I never did this before, so I went to the store. I asked the produce guy, how can I tell which is organic? He said, if it's half the size and twice the price, it's organic. I said, I drive one of those. It's called a Prius. I asked the guy, how can I tell what is kale? He said, kale is in the lettuce family, like lettuce's bitter cousin. Oh, I understand now. It's like my 50-year-old cousin who's been divorced 4 times. That's kale. He says, you're right. But my wife tells me kale is what they call a superfood. Superfood. George, you and I growing up, we didn't have superfoods. We just had food, that tasted good. No recipe ends well when the first ingredient is kale. And the problem with kale is it tastes like kale. But as I said, kale is a superfood, but to me, kale is like kryptonite. Superman can leap tall buildings in a single bound. Kale will clean out my colon in a single serving. But to me, the real superfood of 2021 is Chipotle. You've probably all gone to Chipotle, but my son says, no, Dad, it's called Chipotle. Like, great, this kid got a 40 on the Spanish regions. He's correcting me. All I know, whether it's Chipotle or Chipotle, I really do love their pulled pork fajitas. They're really delicious. And a couple more things that I'll end over here. I mentioned my fact that my wife, she's into the food and everything. I really feel bad for her sometimes because she thinks that everybody is a food critic in the house. She'll spend an hour on the internet looking for a recipe, another hour shopping, and a third hour cooking and stuff. And in 10 seconds, my son will say, you're cooking that shitty chicken again? And, she said to me, Bruce, the other night, she said, Bruce, you must think I'm running a 5-star restaurant over here. I said, honestly, you are. Because every time you cook, I have reservations. That's my time. My name is Bruce Lipsky. Thank you for listening.
Woo!
Bruce. And Bruce, when we were kids, the superfood was Cheetos.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It was not good for us, but nobody cared back then.
Didn't matter. That tasted great, though. Actually, I like Wise onion and garlic potato chips. That was mine.
And that's why, as a teenager, you didn't have a lot of dates.
Exactly. Exactly. Actually, well, my wife, she goes, I don't know, this is more banter over here. She likes to shop in the 99-cent store. You know, she brings back all this stuff. She brought home Zitz crackers, you know, not so good if you have teenagers in the family, right? And that crust toothpaste, not so good for tartar control. But what really got me is that she was on a diet and she brought home 3 Mile Island salad dressing. That's not the taste.
Who buys the diet aids and then a candy bar same time.
And you see a problem with that? See a problem with that?
Just seems odd. That's all. Just odd, you know. So,
Right.
or you go to McDonald's and then you order a Diet Coke, like it really matters.
I know. Right. Exactly. Right.
All right. Well, I want to thank the remaining audience member, Dr. James. Dr. James, one of our regulars. He comes to most of our shows. So we want to thank him for coming again. I want to thank Sophia and Bruce Lipsky. I checked it. I did get it right on the flyer, so I'm okay.
I know it's no problem. I love anything. Just the fact that I'm included, I don't care.
Yeah, just don't call you late for dinner. I know that.
Right.
All right. Again, Dr. James knows that if he wants to donate, he knows how to do that. So I won't go into the spiel since we only have Dr. James left. But thanks, guys, for coming, and appreciate you spending the time and sharing your jokes with us. And hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, George.
Yeah, thanks for having.
Sophia.
Thanks
And
for having
Dr.
me.
James,
Great show.
thank you for listening. Pal.
Yeah,
Take care.
I did great. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good
have a
night,
great night.
Good
No,
night.
George, thanks.
All right.